Sometimes a single act of kindness can change the course of two lives forever. In the vibrant heart of downtown Seoul, Cho-hee, a dedicated young waitress, flows through a bar packed with laughter and clinking glasses. Known for her charm, she often juggles the eclectic mix of personalities that fill the establishment. Her routine, decorated with small interactions and fleeting relationships, seems predictable, until one fateful night when she notices a man in a distant corner, visibly intoxicated and struggling to keep his balance. A mixture of concern and instinct urges her forward, marking the beginning of an unexpected connection that could alter her life. As Cho-hee approaches, her heart races with a blend of empathy and a touch of trepidation. She kneels beside him, her gentle voice slicing through the noise. "Are you okay?" The man blinks slowly, trying to focus on her. I'm just a bit tired," he mutters, his words slurred, yet somehow heart-rending. Cho-hee can sense his vulnerability, and without a second thought, she signals to a colleague nearby to lend a hand. Together, they carefully take him outside into the cool night air. With quiet determination, Cho-hee stays close, handing him water and engaging him in light conversation to help him regain his composure. As layers of his drunken days begin to peel away, he finds solace in her kindness. "You really saved my night," he finally admits, his voice steadier now, and for a moment, their eyes share an intimate connection. In a surprising twist, he retrieves a business card from his breast pocket and hands it over. "I'm Lee Junho, CEO of Nextech." Cho-hee's heart skips a beat, realizing he's not just a random man she helped. He's a towering figure in the business world. After their chance encounter, Cho-hee returns to her routine, still grappling with the gravity of who she had assisted. The week drags on until a call jolts her from her thoughts. It's Junho, his voice warm yet serious. He invites her to coffee, explaining he's eager to repay her kindness in a way that feels appropriate. As they sit across from one another, the disparity in their lives becomes painfully apparent, yet a magnetic pull draws them closer. Junho's invitation unveils a new phase in Cho-hee's life. He offers her an executive position at Nextech. Though initially overwhelmed, her desire to break out of her mundane existence sparks a fire within her. Accepting the role, she navigates the corporate landscape with unwavering determination. Yet, internal conflicts arise. The pressure of her new position mingles with lingering insecurities rooted in her past as a waitress. In this new world, she grapples with the fear of failure, and Junho's expectations weigh heavily on her. Through shared moments over coffee breaks and late-night brainstorming sessions, an emotional undercurrent deepens. Their professional relationship blossoms into a sincere friendship as they bond over shared vulnerabilities. Junho, too, confronts his own insecurities. His past failures in personal relationships linger like shadows. He finds himself drawn to Cho-hee's resilience, appreciating her fresh outlook on life that starkly contrasts the corporate culture he knows. But just as their connection seems to grow stronger, the stakes heighten. Neurological testing reveals that a significant acquisition project hinges on Cho-hee's team's performance, ramping up the pressure. One evening, as Cho-hee struggles with her mounting workload, she overhears that her colleagues doubt her capabilities. The feeling of inadequacy resurfaces, and she retreats, conflicted and hurt. The climax arrives on a night fraught with tension at an important Nextech gala. Cho-hee, torn between proving herself and her fragile self-esteem, flees to the balcony, her heart racing. Junho finds her there, desperation etched on his face. "You're extraordinary, Cho-hee. Don't let anyone's doubts cloud your worth." In that moment, surrounded by the glittering lights of Seoul, Cho-hee finally unburdens her fears. "I was just a waitress. I don't belong here." "Neither do I," he replies softly. "But together, we can carve our place." As their eyes lock, a surge of shared understanding and connection solidifies their bond. She nods, heart pounding, as she realizes that this journey, fraught with insecurities, had forged a unique and profound relationship. The story culminates as the night dissolves into dawn. With the confidence she draws from her bond with Junho, Cho-hee presents her vision at the company meeting. Her ideas, ignited by her passion for innovation, breathe new life into the project, surprising not just her colleagues, but also herself. Amid their triumphs, the threads of their relationship continue to weave tighter, built on mutual respect and admiration. In the days that follow, Cho-hee and Junho explore both their growing professional partnership and the burgeoning feelings of love that accompany it. Their emotional journey reflects the complexities of their lives as they navigate the hurdles presented by societal expectations and their past experiences. They walk hand in hand through the streets of Seoul, each step a reminder of how far they've come since that fateful night. With the world beneath their feet and the promise of new horizons ahead, they embrace the unpredictability of their journey together, a love story ignited by kindness, resilience, and a touch of serendipity. Sometimes kindness leads to the most unexpected connections. On a bustling Friday night in downtown Seoul, the bar's atmosphere pulsated with laughter and the rich sound of conversations blending into an inviting hum. In the midst of it all stood Cho-hee, a young waitress whose warm smile and attentive nature made her a favorite among the regulars. Despite her charm, a sense of ennui lingered beneath her cheerful demeanor, a yearning for something more than her routine life of serving drinks and clearing tables. As waves of customers flowed in and out, she felt as though she were caught in a current that kept pulling her back to the same mundane shore. Just then, a disturbance caught her attention. At a small table in the corner, a man was struggling to maintain his balance amidst the disarray of spilled drinks and half-finished glasses. His flushed face and slurred speech alerted her instincts. Cho-hee approached, her heart racing slightly, knowing she was about to intervene in a potentially messy situation. "Are you okay?" she asked gently, her compassion immediately bridging the gap between them. The man attempted a grin but failed to mask his struggle. I'm just a bit tired," he mumbled, the weight of his unspoken problems heavy in the air. Recognizing the pain behind his words, Cho-hee didn't hesitate. She called a colleague over, and together they carefully guided him outside, away from the noisy bar. There, under the cool glow of streetlights, Cho-hee offered him a glass of water, a gesture that seemed simple, but resonated deeply in the charged silence. As the minutes passed, they exchanged small talk, the atmosphere slowly shifting from embarrassment to understanding. "You know, I didn't expect to meet someone so kind here," he whispered, his gaze steadying. "Everyone deserves kindness, especially on tough nights," Cho-hee replied softly, her heart fluttering at the connection forming between them. The man, who introduced himself as Lee Junho, slowly opened up about his overwhelming corporate life, sharing fragments of his struggle for authenticity amid wealth and status. Cho-hee, in turn, shared her dreams of moving up from serving drinks to something greater, her voice filled with determination. Unbeknownst to her, this moment would act as a precipice for change in both their lives. As they parted ways that night, Junho retrieved a business card from his pocket and handed it to Cho-hee, revealing that he was the CEO of Nextech, a prominent tech company. Stunned, she blurted out a "thank you," feeling the gravity of what that meant, but uncertain of their future. For Cho-hee, the night faded back into her busy work routine, yet the encounter left an indelible mark on her. Days turned to a week, and life resumed until a call shattered her monotony. Junho's familiar voice reached out, inviting her for coffee. The thought sent ripples of anxiety through her, wondering what he saw in her. They met at a quaint cafe, and as they engaged over lattes, Junho's honesty pierced through her defenses. He confessed that her kindness had touched him profoundly, and he wanted to offer her an opportunity at Nextech. Initially overwhelmed, a dual surge of excitement and fear swirled inside Cho-hee. Could she truly break the mold set by her past? After much deliberation and encouragement from Junho, she accepted, taking her first leap toward a brighter future. As Cho-hee stepped confidently into the corporate world, she quickly navigated the dynamics of work. Yet with each passing day, the weight of her new responsibilities heightened her insecurities. She feared she might never measure up to Junho's expectations. And behind the confident demeanor she attempted to project, doubt gnawed at her. Months passed with fleeting successes, but each triumph felt clouded by her self-imposed pressure. One day, while developing a presentation for a pivotal project, the familiar anxiety crept back. Overwhelmed, she sought refuge on the rooftop of the Nextech building, where she hoped to gather her thoughts. There, Junho found her, his expression filled with concern. "You're not alone in this," he reminded her, echoing their previous conversation. He revealed his own struggles within the company. "We're in this together, Cho-hee." Feeling the warmth of their shared vulnerability, Cho-hee finally began to articulate her feelings. "I worry I'm not enough, that I won't live up to what you see in me." The moment held a weight of catharsis as they both disclosed their burdens, revealing how their connection had been a lighthouse in each other's storms. The climax unfolded during the company's annual presentation, where Cho-hee was to showcase their project. As she stood before the audience, the tension was palpable, everyone's eyes fixed on her. Yet her gaze found Junho in the crowd, and in that moment of connection, a sudden revelation surged through her. "This is not just my dream. It's ours." Cho-hee let her passion take flight, pouring her heart into the presentation, igniting excitement throughout the room. Her authenticity and determination won over skeptical colleagues, and applause erupted at the conclusion. In the aftermath, the recognition she gained from her achievements sparked a newfound confidence. The turn of events solidified her place within the company, but also led to deepening feelings for Junho. The two embarked on their journey together, balancing professional ambition with a burgeoning intimacy. Their relationship became a dance of mutual support and encouragement, each step bringing them closer. As summer lingered, Cho-hee reflected on the path that had led her from the bar to a corner office. She knew the journey was just beginning, filled with challenges yet to come. However, alongside Junho, she felt equipped to face whatever lay ahead, each challenge only strengthening their bond. With hands intertwined, they strolled through the vibrant streets of Seoul, embracing the uncertainty of the future, but secure in the knowledge that their connection had flourished from a moment of pure kindness amidst the chaos. In a world that often moved too fast, they had carved out a space for each other, one where dreams could take root and love could blossom, a reminder that sometimes all it takes is a single act of kindness to change the course of lives. One small gesture can change everything. Outside a busy bar in downtown Seoul, Cho-hee and the man she had helped shared a fragile moment under the cooler night air. Their surroundings, once alive with laughter and chatter, now faded into an intimate backdrop. As he sipped water, his initial awkwardness began to dissolve, revealing a more coherent version of himself. The tension in the air shifted, allowing room for vulnerability. "I don't know how to thank you. You saved my night," he said, struggling to keep his eyes focused but managing a grateful smile. In that instant, Cho-hee felt a profound sense of fulfillment wash over her, unaware of the deeper significance this interaction would hold for him. As they conversed, Cho-hee learned that his name was Lee Junho. He spoke of the burdens of life that weighed heavily on his shoulders, pressures of a stressful job, and expectations that felt insurmountable. The contrast between their lives was striking. As a waitress, Cho-hee engaged with each patron, soaking in the diverse stories of people seeking respite. But she often felt invisible, trapped in her own cycle of routine. The man before her, a CEO of Nextech, embodied everything she had never known, yet their moments of exchange bridged that gap, connecting their souls through shared narratives of hardship. Cho-hee noticed a change in Junho as he spoke. With each word, he seemed to draw strength from her empathy, each smile reflecting newfound clarity amidst his struggles. Their conversation flowed smoothly, feeling less like an act of charity and more like an essential human connection. However, the precarious nature of their encounter loomed overhead. "You should get back inside," Junho finally said, his voice softening. "They're probably looking for you." "But what about you?" she countered, a flicker of concern evident in her eyes. If I leave, you'll be alone? I'll be fine. He chuckled, a lightness in his tone. Just a bit tired and overwhelmed. There was a moment of silence as they both reflected on what the other was truly feeling, two unlikely vessels sharing their burdens, when he reached into his pocket and pulled out a sleek business card. I work at Nextech, he said, and I'd love to stay in touch. The card felt heavy in her palm, a symbol of both promise and uncertainty. Cho-hee's mind raced. This was no ordinary meeting. It held the potential for something greater than herself. She accepted it, her fingers brushing against his as their connection lingered just a moment longer. As they parted ways, emotions swirled inside her, a cocktail of excitement and fear. Cho-hee returned to the bar, her heart still thrumming with their exchange. What would she do with this newfound opportunity? Weeks passed, and while she returned to the grind of her shifts, the impact of Junho lingered, nagging at her thoughts. Could he truly see something in her that she struggled to recognize in herself? The unexpected twist arrived when Cho-hee received a phone call just as she was cleaning up one evening. It was Junho, inviting her out for coffee. Nerves fluttered in her stomach as anticipation swelled. When they met again, she was struck by the depth in his eyes, a blend of vulnerability and determination. He expressed admiration for her resolve and described how her kindness had sparked something within him. Their connection deepened during each meeting as they explored the contrasts in their lives. Cho-hee shared stories of customers who brought joy and pain into the bar, while Junho revealed the pressures of his high-stakes world. But what started as a casual friendship soon evolved into something much deeper, complicated by the socio-economic divide that neither of them openly acknowledged. The climax of their growing bond came during a crucial meeting at Nextech, where they both found themselves in differing roles, competing for a shared promotion. The tension in the air was palpable, and as Cho-hee presented her innovative ideas, she felt Junho's unwavering support radiating from the audience. Yet when the moment came for him to present, Cho-hee's heart sank as she recognized the conflict brewing between them. Torn between professional ambition and personal feelings, she felt a twist of betrayal brewing. Cho-hee, he said later that evening, pacing outside the office, I want us to be partners in all ways, but with everything we're facing, I can't help what's expected of me. Frustration bubbled beneath her surface, mixed with an underlying current of understanding. And what if I don't want to lose you? She replied hotly, tears glistening in her eyes. What if I can't live up to what you need? As silence enveloped them in that moment, they both confronted their fears, the social expectations, the pressures of society, and the realities of their lives swirling inexorably around them. Many things hung in the air, unspoken yet deeply felt. Eventually, through genuine connection and profound honesty, they made a pact to fight their battles separately but together, each person anchored against the currents of their realities. In the weeks that followed, both faced pivotal decisions. Cho-hee chose to pursue a position at Nextech, where she could thrive professionally without losing herself, and Junho embraced the possibility of innovation in the corporate space, vowing to value authenticity over sheer profit. As their lives began to intertwine again, they understood the complexity of their relationship. It would neither fit society's mold, nor succumb to pressures from peers. Their bond evolved into a sincere partnership, founded on trust and understanding. On their next meeting, an intimate dinner shared beneath the glow of fairy lights, Cho-hee grasped Junho's hands, her voice steady. I want to create our future, whatever that may look like. Junho smiled, eyes shimmering with warmth. Then let's take it one step at a time. They held on to hope as they walked hand in hand beneath the Seoul skyline, both aware that the journey ahead would be neither simple nor easy. What they chose to embrace was more profound than the pull of their ambitions. It was a promise to one another that, together, they could redefine success, not through power, but through understanding and support, continuing to grow side by side. Sometimes a single moment can alter the course of our lives forever. As Cho-hee stood outside the bar, she watched Lee Junho, make his way toward a sleek luxury car, disbelief flooding her senses. Just moments before, they had shared an unexpectedly genuine conversation, one that pierced through her monotony as a waitress amid the raucous nightlife of downtown Seoul. The remarkable revelation of his identity as CEO of Nextech began to settle into her mind like a heavy fog. She thanked him before he exited her life, but inside she grapples with the implications of their encounter. Would this fleeting moment change her life forever? Returning to the hustle of her shift, Cho-hee forced herself to focus on her duties, clearing tables and serving drinks, but her mind remained tethered to Junho. What irked her most was the nagging sense of inadequacy rising from within, echoing her lifelong struggles with self-worth. She often felt invisible among customers who came and went, their lives as transient as her shifts, but Junho had seen her. He noticed her kindness and attentiveness, not just as traits of a waitress, but as a human being. This realization stirred something deep within her, igniting a restless longing. As the days passed, Cho-hee grappled with the incident. The feeling of his presence lingered, competing with familiar fears and insecurities. She often imagined what his world looked like, full of influence and prestige, and the stark contrast to her own simple life deepened her self-doubt. Would he remember her? Would he see her as just another face among many in the bustling city? These thoughts played out repeatedly, offering her no consolation. Then came an unexpected twist of fate. A week after their encounter, Cho-hee stumbled upon an article online about an upcoming Nextech event, highlighting a groundbreaking project led by none other than Junho. The piece detailed his vision and ambitions, read like poetry to her ears, stirring excitement and a hint of jealousy for the dreams she wished were within her reach. Intrigued, she made up her mind. She would attend the event, if only to catch a glimpse of the man who had briefly shaken her perception of herself. On the night of the event, Cho-hee arrived, her heart racing at the sight of the lavish venue thrumming with life and energy. Dressed in an elegant outfit borrowed from her more fashionable friend, she felt out of place, yet determined to stand in that space and own her presence. As she maneuvered through the crowd, she spotted Junho, standing confidently amidst a throng of admirers, reporters, and colleagues who fawned over him. His laughter was like music in the air, warm and inviting, yet it pierced her heart deeper than she anticipated. Gathering her courage, Cho-hee approached him, her palms clammy and thoughts racing. "Congratulations on everything you've done," she managed, her voice trembling slightly. Junho turned at the sound of her voice, his expression shifting from professional charm to genuine recognition. "Cho-hee, I didn't expect to see you here." They exchanged pleasantries, but the moment felt charged. Junho glanced around the room, sensing the weight of eyes upon them. "I can't believe a chance encounter brought us here," he remarked, taking her in with a newfound intensity. It was an unexpected twist for both, like the universe conspiring to remind them of their connection. As the night progressed, however, the atmosphere shifted. A competitor of Nextech crashed the event, insinuating a scandal brewing that could cripple Junho's reputation. Cho-hee, witnessing the sudden chaos, felt a surge of protective instincts rise within her. She knew how hard Junho had worked for his position and how vulnerable he must feel under the scrutiny. "Let's address this together," she whispered boldly, gathering her thoughts as they quickly moved away from the prying eyes of media. Their conversation turned serious, revealing their mutual respect and passion. Both the pressures they faced and the expectations thrust upon them by society loomed heavy. As the climactic moment unfolded, Cho-hee was faced with a crucial decision. Should she step back into the shadows, ensuring her safety and comfort, or stand by Junho, risking her anonymity and the life she had always known? In a moment of clarity, Cho-hee recognized that this was not just about her. It was about the bond they had formed. "I believe in you, Junho," she confessed, leaning in closer. "Let's confront them together." Her words ignited something in him, and they stepped back into the limelight together, embracing the uncertainty that came with their partnership, their lives tangled like threads, waiting to be woven into a new story. In the aftermath, their united front shone brightly as they addressed the allegations, cultivating trust and transparency. Their bamboo-like resilience, strengthened by mutual support, captivated not just the audience, but also transformed their perceived realities. As the dust settled from that tumultuous night, Cho-hee realized that she was no longer an observer in her life. Rather than remain a fleeting moment in the narrative, she had become an active participant, crafting her path alongside someone extraordinary. In the weeks that followed, Junho and Cho-hee worked together more closely, both in the office and at social events. Their relationship blossomed into something beautiful and vulnerable, bridging the chasm between their disparate worlds. They laughed, spilled secrets, and began to dream together. Broken barriers and misconceptions were slowly mended as they became each other's anchor. On a quiet evening, as they strolled through the vibrant streets of Seoul, embracing a newfound rhythm, Cho-hee looked up at Junho and smiled. "You know, I never believed in chance encounters until you came into my life," Junho replied softly. "What I saw in you that night was a flicker of potential, and I can't help but believe you'll shine even brighter than you've imagined." They walked hand in hand, both knowing that life would persist with its challenges, yet now armed with a new sense of purpose and connection. Together, they would navigate the complexities of their future, an uncharted territory filled with hope, growth, and flickers of romance, bound by the moment when a simple act of kindness sparked a profound change in both of their lives. Sometimes the most unexpected phone call can change your life. A week had passed since Cho-hee encountered Lee Junho at the bar, a chance meeting that stirred something deep within her soul. Life returned to its usual rhythm as she shuffled between tables, the repetitive motions of serving drinks and smiling at customers providing a sense of normalcy. Yet, despite the busyness, snippets of that night echoed in her mind. She often wondered if Junho felt the connection too, or if he had simply forgotten her, a fleeting moment in his high-powered life. One afternoon, just as she was about to close up for the day, her phone rang, disrupting her thoughts. The moment she glanced at the caller ID, her heart raced. It was Junho. Tentatively, she answered, her mind swirling with a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Hi, Cho-hee. It's Junho. I hope I'm not interrupting." His voice was warm, yet she could hear an underlying sincerity that piqued her curiosity. "I'd love to take you for coffee if you're free. There's something I want to discuss." A flurry of emotions coursed through her, hesitation mingling with intrigue. What could he possibly want to talk about? Perhaps he merely wished to return a favor, or maybe he wanted to thank her for her kindness in a way that felt more personal. After a brief pause, overwhelmed with curiosity, she agreed, feeling the pull of destiny urging her forward. Later that day, they met at a cozy coffee shop, the scent of freshly brewed coffee mixing with the sweet aroma of pastries that hung in the air. The intimate setting felt worlds away from the glitzy life Junho led. Cho-hee sat across from him, her hands trembling slightly as she took a sip of her drink. He smiled at her, and she felt a blend of admiration and nervousness wash over her. "I haven't forgotten that night at the bar," Junho began, his tone earnest. "You saved my night, and more importantly, you reminded me of what it means to connect with people. I wanted to repay you for that." His words struck a chord within her, but they also raised questions. How did someone like him, the CEO of a major tech company, see value in her, a simple waitress? Cho-hee's pulse quickened as he continued, revealing a deeper layer to his invitation. "Your kindness made me rethink a lot about my life and priorities. I want to introduce you to some people in my network. Maybe help you reach whatever dreams you have." Her heart surged at the possibilities, yet an undercurrent of self-doubt pushed against her excitement. Could she navigate a world so different from her own? As they continued their conversation, an unexpected revelation arose. Junho confessed that he had struggled with dividing his professional life from authentic connections. He explained how, despite his success, he often felt isolated, longing for genuine relationships that transcended his title. "Sometimes I'm not sure if people see me for who I am or just what I represent," he confessed, vulnerable for a moment. With every word, a fragile layer of understanding enveloped them. Cho-hee found herself opening up as well, sharing her dreams and insecurities. I've always thought of my job as just a way to make ends meet. But you make me think about how to dream bigger. It's terrifying, really. The connection deepened as they both bared their truths, navigating their different worlds while unearthing similarities. That night at the bar had been a serendipitous moment that unlocked something profound for both: insecurity, longing, and the possibility of growth. As the meeting drew to a close, with promises to meet again, an unexpected twist occurred. While walking out, a flurry of reporters appeared, having caught wind of Junho's presence at the coffee shop. Flashbulbs exploded, and a cacophony of questions filled the air. Cho-hee felt herself being pushed aside, lost in the chaos around him. In that fleeting second, she understood the complexities of Junho's reality, the pressures that came with his position. "Junho," one reporter shouted, trying to capture the perfect headline. "Is it true that you're planning to step back from Nextech to pursue a new venture?" The questions sent a wave of tension through Cho-hee, and she felt an instinctual urge to shield him, but remained frozen instead. In that moment of turmoil, Junho's eyes found hers, a mix of gratitude and vulnerability. The urgency had changed. They were no longer simply two individuals exploring a newfound connection, but two lives colliding against the stark reality of the world outside their bubble. Cho-hee stepped forward, finding her voice. "Leave him alone," she called out, her heart pounding. "He deserves his privacy." The reporters turned their attention to her, which led to an even more intense flash of cameras. Junho's expression softened at her brave outburst, and amid the chaos she felt a surge of strength she had never felt before. Behind the glamour lay humanity, complex and imperfect, woven together by the threads of honesty and connection. Their eyes met once more, and in that brief interaction, both felt a shift, an acknowledgement of possibilities and challenges ahead. Together, they could face the complexities of their lives, embracing vulnerability shared in moments of authenticity. As they parted ways that day, Cho-hee held onto the thought that this was just the beginning. She remained hopeful about their journey, even if uncertainty loomed large. What blossomed from their connection could either anchor her to greater heights or plunge her into new depths. But she was ready to face whether it came wrapped in excitement or fear. With newfound determination, she approached her life with a different perspective, seeing every shift at the bar not just as work, but a stepping stone toward her dreams. And as for Junho, he had begun to see beyond titles, discovering the power of connection as she gazed into his eyes. Their next meeting awaited, full of promise, filled with potent possibilities, and bound to weave their stories together in ways they had yet to imagine. Every opportunity comes with a risk, and this might be the biggest one yet. Cho-hee sat across from Lee Junho, in a chic cafe, the murmur of conversations enveloping them like soft velvet, but her focus was solely on him. The initial excitement of their meeting had surged through her veins, yet now she felt a knot tightening in her stomach. Fresh off their riveting conversation, Junho leaned forward, a serious glint in his eye, his next words poised to shift the course of her life entirely. "I want to offer you a position at Nextech," he declared, his intensity matching the gravity of his proposal. The words hung in the air between them, a cocktail of disbelief and possibility brewing in her heart. "It's a role that would be unthinkable for someone with your background, but I genuinely believe you have the talent and perspective we need." Her breath caught in her throat. Cho-hee had spent her life operating under a veil of modesty, helping others while desperately dreaming of a chance to shine. The vast world of corporate success had always felt unreachable, like a high mountain she could only admire from afar. This offer represented the culmination of her hopes, but with it came a tide of self-doubt. "Me? At Nextech?" she echoed, unsure whether to laugh or cry. "Isn't that too much?" Junho leaned back, allowing her the space to process. "I know how this sounds, but think about your potential," he encouraged gently, each word cutting through her worries with clarity. "That night at the bar, you helped me see things differently. I believe you can bring that same clarity to our team." As Cho-hee contemplated his offer, a whirlwind of emotions surged through her. This was the opportunity of a lifetime, but could she really step into such a role? The tension in her chest constricted as she envisioned her usual surroundings, serving drinks at the bar, surrounded by the bustle of lives intersecting with hers and the fleeting moments that defined her day. "What would I even do there?" she mused aloud, her voice a soft whisper. "Start with what you know. People," Junho replied, his expression unwavering. "Customer relations, community engagement, even the marketing strategy. Your insights are valuable, and you would bring a fresh perspective that we desperately need." Her mind raced with thoughts of her current life clashing against the potential realities of working in a high-stakes corporate environment. Could she balance who she was with who she would need to become? Disbelief dug its claws into her, painting her dreams with a hue of fear. Suddenly, a moment of clarity struck her. This wasn't only about the role, but about stepping beyond the boundaries she had set for herself. "But what if I fail?" she asked, her voice trembling with vulnerability. "What if I can't handle it?" "Then you learn," Junho replied. "Failure is a stepping stone to growth." "I faced plenty before I got to where I am today." He paused and offered a reassuring smile, igniting a flicker of courage in her heart. "I'll be there to support you, and you won't be alone." His confidence in her began to melt away her hesitation, and with it came a wave of exhilaration. Finally, after a moment that felt like eternity, she nodded, her heart racing with anticipation. "I'll do it. I'm ready to embark on this new journey." The relief washed over her like a soothing balm, but it also ushered in an undeniable swirl of fear and excitement. As Junho beamed at her acceptance, she felt a sense of freedom that contradicted all her insecurities. The deal was sealed, and she had chosen courage over comfort. But as the atmosphere shifted from one of possibility to that of a fresh challenge, the weight of her decision began to dawn on her. What would life look like when she stepped into the world of Nextech? How would her colleagues perceive her? Would she fit in among high-powered individuals who spoke jargon with such ease? In the following days, a cascade of preparations unfolded. Cho-hee found herself balancing premature excitement with unknowns. The thought of formal meetings and business attire loomed like a shadow, and she pondered if she was truly ready to break free from the life she had always known. Alongside these worries, the complexity of her relationship with Junho deepened. As much as she admired him, the fear of imposing on his professional world rose within her. Would he expect too much from her once she stepped into the office? Would their connection alter under the weight of expectations and responsibilities? The climax came sooner than expected. On her first day at Nextech, arriving inside the polished glass building, Cho-hee was enveloped by an atmosphere of ambition and innovation. But her confidence wavered as she entered the conference room for her introduction. The eyes of the executives weighed on her, piercing through her veneer of self-assurance. "Welcome, Cho-hee," the department head greeted. "We're excited to have you here. What ideas do you envision bringing to the team?" In that moment, the pressure coiled tightly around her, her heart pounding in her chest, as she faced the very people she once believed were worlds away from her reality. Reflecting on Junho's words about vulnerability and growth, she steadied herself. "I believe there's strength in understanding consumer behaviors, especially through genuine engagement. Creating real connections with our clients can redefine our approach to marketing." The room fell silent. Then she saw it, a flicker of interest among her new colleagues as they began to ask questions. As their dialogue flowed, she momentarily shed her fears, recognizing her voice and ideas resonating within the walls she once deemed as impenetrable. With that first meeting, the tides began to turn. Cho-hee had taken that leap beyond her doubts and insecurities, and for the first time, she felt a rush of empowerment. She realized that growth and self-discovery were not just concepts. They were tangible experiences she was now living. In the days that followed, the threads of her new life began to weave into a vivid tapestry. Adjusting to her role brought its challenges, but with Junho's quiet support and encouragement, she navigated the complexity of corporate life, gradually finding her voice amidst the hum of high-stakes deals. As she settled into her position, the offerings of potential unfurled before her, and she discovered that the multifaceted world she ventured into was not daunting, but exhilarating. Cho-hee recognized that as she embraced her path, she brought with her the warmth and tenacity that had always defined her. The conclusion to this chapter of her journey remained unwritten, open to possibilities. The relationship with Junho bloomingly transformed into a genuine partnership, two souls connected by vulnerability and the shared desire for growth. Through the challenges, triumphs, and the unknown paths ahead, Cho-hee was ready to embrace it all, armed with newfound strength and the belief that every risk she took would ultimately carve her destiny, chapter by chapter, alongside the man who had seen her potential when she had still been lost to herself. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Cho-hee stepped into the world of Next-Tech with a heart full of trepidation and hope, her mind racing with possibilities. The glossy office was a stark contrast to her former life, a whirlwind of bustling activity, sleek furniture, and the electric hum of eager minds at work. She had left the bar behind, but the lingering self-doubt clung to her like an unwelcome shadow. Would she truly belong in this realm filled with ambitious professionals? As she settled into her new role in marketing, Cho-hee quickly caught on to the rhythm of corporate life. With each small task, she began to untangle the intricacies of strategic planning and audience engagement. She took initiative, suggesting innovative ideas that brought freshness to the projects she worked on. Her colleagues, who had been skeptical of her hiring, started to take notice. The surprise in their expressions was evident as she tackled complex tasks with unexpected proficiency. Among those watching was Junho, the CEO who had seen potential in her where others had not. As her ideas flourished, so did his admiration for her tenacity and intellect. He marveled not only at her ability to navigate the corporate maze, but also at her resilience in overcoming the challenges of adapting to a world so distinct from her own. Their professional relationship blossomed into a partnership of respect, where simple exchanges held deeper significance, the air between them charged with unspoken possibilities. But the road was not without its bumps. With success came pressure, and Cho-hee found herself battling the weight of imposter syndrome. After one particularly grueling presentation, she quietly slipped into a corner of the break room, a wave of anxiety crashing over her. Thoughts raced in her mind. Had she really convinced anyone? What if it had all been an illusion, and they would soon see through her facade? Junho appeared just moments later, a warm cup of tea in hand for her. "You did great out there," he said, sitting beside her. "I saw the way people responded to your ideas. You're making an impact." She looked away, biting her lip. What if it's just luck? What if they realize I'm not cut out for this? Some of them still see me as the waitress from that bar. You're not just a waitress anymore, Cho-hee. You're part of this team. Embrace who you are now, not who you were. Junho encouraged gently, sensing the internal battle raging within her. His words resonated deeply, and for a moment, she let the tension fade away. "You really think so?" "I know so," he replied, his dark eyes holding hers with a sincerity that sent a jolt of warmth through her. In that brief moment of vulnerability, something more than a professional bond flickered between them. It was the kind of connection that challenged the boundaries of their roles, introducing tantalizing complexities into their relationship. As the weeks progressed, their interactions flourished, filled with meaningful glances and shared laughter between meetings. Yet the walls built by Junho's position loomed larger. Was it appropriate for them to cross the line between colleagues and something more? Cho-hee wrestled with her feelings, questioning whether she could allow herself to tread in uncharted territory with the man who had given her this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Then, the climax erupted during an important company event, Next-Tech's annual conference. Cho-hee had worked tirelessly on a major project to showcase their innovative marketing process, and the stakes were high. As she prepared backstage, a wave of panic surged through her when she overheard a discussion among some executives questioning her qualifications. "Was it really a good idea to put her in charge?" one sneered. "She's just a new hire. How can she understand our market?" The sting of their words struck deep, igniting the self-doubt that had begun to diminish. Just as she was about to back out, Junho found her, his expression grave with concern. "You okay?" "No," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't think I can go through with this. Listen, you've already done the work. Everyone outside is about to hear your brilliance. Don't let their opinions cloud your talent." He stepped closer, the warmth of reassurance flowing between them. "You have a choice, Cho-hee. You can let them imprison you with their doubts, or you can show them what you're capable of." In that moment, the decision crystallized within her. Determined to reclaim her place, she took a deep breath, squared her shoulders, and nodded resolutely. "You're right. Let's do this." As she stepped onto the stage and faced the audience, the initial wave of apprehension transformed into an empowering clarity. With each word spoken, she exuded confidence, sharing her vision and the innovative strategies that had the potential to redefine their marketing model. The applause that followed was electrifying, and in that moment, she felt a shift. The doubts that had once burdened her fell away, replaced by a burgeoning sense of belonging. In the days that followed the conference success, Cho-hee found herself irrevocably changed, stepping further into her identity within Nextech, while forming a deeper connection with Junho. During late-night brainstorming sessions and casual coffee breaks, their chemistry grew undeniable. Every shared laugh hinted at something more intricate brewing beneath the surface. Yet as their bond expanded, so did the complexities. Cho-hee learned that alongside their budding romance came the scrutiny of colleagues. The near-constant whispers about favoritism gnawed at her, amplifying her insecurities. Could she truly navigate both the corporate challenges and the implications of her relationship with Junho? On a rainy afternoon, Cho-hee found herself standing at a crossroads in their relationship. As they discussed upcoming projects, she tentatively broached the topic. "Junho, do you think our connection could create challenges here? What if people think I only got this position because of you?" Junho contemplated her words, a seriousness settling into his expression. "I can't deny that it's complex, but you've earned every bit of your success. I want to support you and make sure you know it's because of your talent." Cho-hee took a deep breath, her heart racing with apprehension. "But how will we balance this? Can we keep our professional lives intact?" "I think it's all about being open and honest with ourselves and our team. We can face it together," Junho replied, a sincere gaze affirming his commitment to navigating the complexities ahead. With each uncertainty, the seeds of hope blossomed. They chose to openly communicate, fortifying their relationship by confronting potential issues directly. And as they faced the world hand in hand, Cho-hee realized that allowing their connection to exist amidst the challenges only strengthened her resolve. As the days turned into weeks, Cho-hee thrived in her new position, not just as an employee, but as a fervent advocate for genuine connection, a trait she would carry throughout her journey. The corporate world remained filled with obstacles, but she approached them with newfound confidence, bolstered by her professional successes and the deepening bond she shared with Junho. Together they embarked on a dual journey of professional growth and personal connection, both forever changed and driven by the faith that had blossomed between them, a testament to the power of resilience, understanding, and love born from unexpected beginnings. The path ahead remained unwritten, open to the complexities and joys they would discover together, ready to face whatever life had in store. Sometimes love blooms unexpectedly in the most mundane places. As the weeks turned into months at Nextech, Cho-hee and Lee Junho, found themselves drawn to each other with a magnetic pull. The vibrant office, usually echoing with the chatter of ambitious colleagues, became their common ground, a canvas for the connection that silently flourished between them. Each shared lunch became a treasure trove of laughter and stories intertwined with their vastly different lives, a dance of two souls mirroring each other in an unexpected waltz. Cho-hee's background contrasted sharply with Junho's world of corporate power. While her days had revolved around serving drinks and navigating the challenges of life in a bustling city, his had been structured around board meetings, high-stake negotiations, and the perpetual pressure of leadership. Yet, As they exchanged stories, their differences painted a richer picture of who they were. Cho-hee learned about Junho's dedication to his company, the sacrifices he made, and the loneliness that sometimes accompanied his success. In turn, Junho discovered Cho-hee's unwavering determination, her resilience in overcoming life's hurdles, and the warmth she spread through her kindness. While their connection deepened, so did internal and external conflicts. Cho-hee's burgeoning feelings for Junho were accompanied by fluttering doubts. Can he ever see me as more than just an employee? She wondered, struggling with the notion of crossing the boundary between professional and personal. Each shared laugh and knowing glance carried the weight of what might unfold, yet she hesitated to let herself dream of a romantic future. On the other side, Junho grappled with his own fears. He was captivated by Cho-hee's spirit, drawn in by her authenticity, but the intricacies of their working relationship complicated his thoughts. His mind often wandered to the implications of pursuing something deeper with her. Would he be accused of favoritism? Could he risk what they had built professionally for the chance of something more? An unexpected twist materialized one Monday afternoon during a long-awaited team meeting where an exciting new project was presented. As Cho-hee spoke passionately about her innovative ideas, the room buzzed with enthusiasm. Yet, tension punctured the air when an executive challenged her qualifications. "Let's remember where you came from, Cho-hee. Can you really handle this?" The ice in the room cracked, and suddenly, all eyes turned to Junho, as if expecting him to intervene. Cho-hee's heart sank, the question gnawing at her confidence. In that moment, she vulnerably realized how her insecure past still haunted her, regardless of her recent successes. But Junho surprised her. Standing up with a fervent passion that resonated through the conference room, he addressed the executive directly. "Cho-hee has proven her capabilities time and again. Let's focus on her ideas, not on her past." As he defended her, an unexpected warmth surged through Cho-hee. Here was the man who believed in her, who saw her potential and recognized it fiercely. Their eyes locked across the room, and for a moment, the noise faded as the world around them melted away. After the meeting, Cho-hee found Junho in the break room, his expression a mix of concern and admiration. "You didn't have to stand up for me like that," she began, feeling the weight of gratitude and uncertainty. "I believed in you," he replied genuinely. "You deserve recognition for your hard work, just as much as anyone else in that room." The conversation lapped against the shoreline of their connection, subtly shifting the tide as emotions bubbled to the surface. It was in this charged moment that Cho-hee felt a rush of courage, breaking through her insecurities. "Thank you, Junho. Your support means everything to me. It feels like you see me, not just the role I play here." A silence full of understanding stretched between them, thick with unspoken feelings. In that charged atmosphere, Cho-hee suddenly leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "What we have here, it's more than just a working relationship for me." Junho's heart raced at her words. "I feel it too," he confessed, vulnerability etched across his features. "But we need to tread carefully. I don't want to complicate what we have, and yet, I can't deny how strongly I'm drawn to you." The world around them faded as they both took a step toward understanding their emotions. Grounded in the honesty they had both just shared, they realized they were at a crossroads where personal and professional paths could intertwine, to take a risk or keep things as they were. The climax of their evolving relationship unfolded on a rainy afternoon as they found themselves caught in an unexpected downpour after a team brainstorming session. Seeking shelter, they ducked into a nearby cafe, laughter bubbling between them as they removed their drenched jackets. Inside, the warmth of the coffee shop provided a perfect cocoon against the storm raging outside. As they sipped their drinks, Junho suddenly turned serious. "I've been thinking about us. I want to be straightforward about how I feel." Cho-hee's heart raced, anticipation mixing with fear. "And what's that?" His expression softened. "You inspire me, Cho-hee. I admire your spirit, and I can't ignore how deeply I feel for you. But I also understand the risks involved. We need to consider how this could affect our lives at work." The rain drummed steadily against the window, punctuating the tension in the air. Cho-hee's mind raced, weighing the exhilarating possibility that lay ahead against the inevitable complications. "I want this too," she admitted, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions surging within her. "But let's be honest about the challenges. We can't ignore them." Junho nodded, realizing they were both here to face the uncertainties together. "Then let's move forward cautiously. We'll figure this out together." As the storm outside began to fade, so did their hesitation. With mutual understanding, they embraced the moment, taking a slow step toward each other, not just in their relationship, but in their willingness to face whatever lay ahead, side by side. In the weeks that followed, Cho-hee and Junho navigated their burgeoning romance with care, ensuring that their professional roles remained respected while their personal lives blossomed. They learned to cherish stolen moments amidst their busy schedules, the laughter and shared dreams fueling a connection neither of them had anticipated. As their relationship continued to flourish, the contrasting colors of their worlds painted a picture richer than either had foreseen. Cho-hee found herself stepping further into her role, inspired not only by her own growth, but also by the man who believed in her resilience. The journey ahead held uncertainties, but as they embraced the intricate tapestry of their lives, woven with admiration, mutual respect, and the threads of their intertwined souls, there was a sense of hope glimmering on the horizon. Together, they would confront whatever challenges awaited them, ready to write the next chapter of their lives filled with love and understanding. The simplest moments can carry the heaviest of meanings. Months had slipped by since Cho-hee accepted her position at Nextech, and life had transformed in ways she had once only dreamed of. She had woven herself into the fabric of the company, finding her place and thriving, buoyed by the support of her colleagues and, most notably, Lee Junho. Their connection deepened with each shared laugh and late-night project, allowing her once guarded heart to begin opening up fully. So, when Junho surprised her with an invitation for dinner at an exquisite restaurant, anticipation mingled with nervous energy. The restaurant sparkled under evening lights, its elegant decor a stark contrast to the humble beginnings of their interactions. As she stepped inside, Cho-hee's eyes widened at the opulence. The soft candlelight flickered against the arrays of fine china, and the rich aroma of gourmet dishes swirled around her. Who was she to deserve such luxury? Her heart raced as Junho approached with a smile that made her stomach flutter. "Hi, Cho-hee," he greeted, his eyes lighting up as he swept out a chair for her. "I wanted to celebrate how far you've come. You've been incredible at Nextech." Cho-hee felt warmth bloom in her chest as she sat across from him, gazing into his welcoming eyes. They had come a long way since their first chance encounter at the bar, where she had offered him care amidst his chaos. Now, it felt surreal to be sitting with someone she admired in such an elegant setting. "Thank you for this," she said, her voice soft. "It's really beautiful here." Their conversation flowed as effortlessly as the wine poured into their glasses. Junho shared stories of his early days at Nextech, how he had struggled with sleepless nights filled with worry about living up to expectations. "I never thought I'd build something so big," he confessed, vulnerability weaving through his words. "But meeting you changed my perspective on success and fulfillment." Reflecting on her own journey, Cho-hee realized how deeply Junho's words resonated with her. The deep insecurities that had once gripped her now felt manageable, and his genuine admiration for her growth ignited a sense of pride within her. She shared her struggles with self-doubt, revealing how his belief in her had shifted the course of her life. As their laughter danced through the air, the atmosphere felt charged with unspoken emotions. Yet the blossoming intimacy held a thread of tension, an undercurrent that neither had fully addressed. They both understood that the line between colleagues and something more had begun to blur, and it was only a matter of time before that tension came to a head. Then came the turning point, the unexpected twist that shifted the mood. As they enjoyed dessert, Junho's demeanor shifted subtly. He leaned forward, his expression serious. "Can I be honest with you, Cho-hee? I've been thinking a lot about us." Her pulse quickened as she cautiously replied, "What do you mean?" "I've developed feelings for you that go beyond friendship. he admitted, the weight of his words settling between them. "But I know that this could complicate things at work. I wouldn't want to jeopardize what we've built." Cho-hee felt her breath hitch, her heart dancing with excitement but also fear of the implications. "I feel the same way," she confessed, her honesty bare. "But is it worth the risk? What if it affects our jobs or the team dynamic?" As the weight of their unspoken feelings filled the air, Cho-hee's mind raced with implications. They had built a strong foundation of professional respect, but could they shift that into a romantic relationship without losing what had been so important? The climax of their emotional confrontation came as they leaned into each other. "I think if we're honest with ourselves and our team, we could make it work," Junho said, hope shimmering in his gaze. "You make me a better person, and I want to explore this. If you do, too." "I want to explore this with you, Junho," she whispered, her heart roaring in agreement. "I don't want to lose you." A silence hung, thick with possibility, as they both took the plunge into vulnerability. Cho-hee felt the weight of their shared moments flash through her mind, intertwining their lives together like strands of silk. With newfound courage, they made a pact to tackle their evolving relationship with transparency and respect, both at work and in their personal lives. As they concluded their dinner, they stepped onto the bustling streets of Seoul, their hearts aligned in unison. Under the starry night sky, they walked hand in hand, fully aware of the challenges ahead, but ready to embrace whatever came their way. In that embrace, they discovered their powerful bond, a connection enriched by admiration, respect, and now, love. As they ventured forward into the unknown, both felt a deep sense of hope and unity, knowing that the journey they shared would be filled with both challenges and the profound joy of forging a path together. Their story, filled with love, understanding, and growth, was just beginning, and they were eager to see where it would lead them next. Sometimes, revealing our past leads to the strongest connections. The atmosphere in the elegant restaurant hummed with an undercurrent of anticipation as Cho-hee and Lee Junho, settled into their intimate corner, surrounded by soft candlelight and the tantalizing aroma of gourmet cuisine. Months had passed since that pivotal night at the bar when their lives first entangled, and now this dinner felt steeped in promise and possibility. As they shared the first few bites of their meal, Cho-hee gazed at Junho, who looked at her with an encouraging smile. The way he leaned in, actively listening, sparked something inside her, a warmth that urged her to open up. "I used to feel so lost," she began, her voice steady but laced with vulnerability. "Back at the bar, I spent a lot of time serving others, but I found myself doing it all while feeling invisible. I barely knew what I wanted from life." Junho nodded, his expression a mix of understanding and empathy. "I remember when we first met. You radiated kindness, but I could sense that there was something more beneath the surface." Her heart swelled. "It's true. I felt like I was on autopilot, just going through the motions. It took me a long time to realize that I could hope for more, that I could dream bigger." She paused, searching his eyes. "Meeting you changed everything. You saw potential in me where I only saw insecurity. You gave me the strength to step outside my comfort zone." His gaze softened, resonating deeply with Cho-hee's honesty. "Listening to you, I can't help but admire the person you've become. Sometimes I think you don't fully recognize how incredible you are." As they exchanged laughter and dreams over dinner, a tangible energy enveloped them, each shared story weaving their fates tighter. They spoke of aspirations, Cho-hee's ambition to lead her department at Nextech, and Junho's dream of pushing the company toward innovative breakthroughs. Amidst these discussions, subtle touches became more frequent, his hand brushing against hers, a shared grin as they finished their meals. Yet, beneath the surface, the fear of vulnerability lurked, an undercurrent they both sensed, but hadn't fully addressed. Prompted by her own yearning, Cho-hee took a courageous leap. "Junho," she said softly, "with everything we've shared, where do you see us heading?" He met her gaze, the glow of the candle reflecting in his eyes, revealing a flicker of something deeper. "I think we've built something special," he admitted, "but I'm also wary. What we have feels genuine, but the complexities of our professional lives could complicate things. The weight of his words sat heavily in the air. Cho-hee's heart raced as she sensed this was a moment of truth. "Do you think we're strong enough to face that?" she asked, feeling a mixture of longing and hesitation. Before he could respond, the waiter arrived, momentarily breaking the tension as they cleared the plates and served dessert. Cho-hee swirled her spoon absent-mindedly in her chocolate mousse, fighting the urge to second-guess everything that had led them to this moment. As they settled back into the emotional space, Jun-ho leaned in, his voice low and earnest. "I believe we can navigate this together. I want to see where this leads, whether it's in a professional capacity or something deeper." The sincerity in his voice tugged at something deep within her. Cho-hee felt as if the very air around them had shifted, their connection solidifying with each heartbeat. "Then let's take it one step at a time," she replied, the words feeling liberating. No expectations, just the journey. As they shared a dessert made for two, and laughter floated around them, the palpable energy between them deepened. Their fingers intertwined on the table, an affirmation of the bond they'd forged. In that moment, the past began to fade, allowing the weight of their shared aspirations to take form in the space they had created together. Finally, as they walked out of the restaurant, hand in hand under the soft glow of city lights, a sense of calm washed over Cho-hee. She realized that the dinner wasn't just about food or fancy decor. It was a reaffirmation of the journey they'd begun together. Outside, the cool air wrapped around them, and Jun-ho paused to look at her. "No matter where this leads, just know that I'm here," he said, his expression sincere. "You've changed my life as much as I hope to have changed yours." Looking up at him, a smile danced on Cho-hee's lips. "Let's continue to support each other, no matter the path we take. After all, we both know honesty and openness will guide us." As they strolled through the streets, ready to embrace whatever awaited them, a renewed sense of hope filled their hearts. This was only the beginning of their journey, a story they would write together. With each step, they ventured deeper into their unknown future, grateful for the intertwining paths that had led them to this moment. Sometimes, the simplest moments hold the greatest significance. After dinner, Cho-hee and Lee Jun-ho, wandered through the vibrant streets of Seoul, illuminated by glowing lanterns and bustling with the sounds of city life. The soft spring breeze embraced them, whispering secrets of hope and possibility. With their hands intertwined, they reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them together, from a chance encounter at a bar to this enchanting moment filled with laughter, shared dreams, and an undeniable bond. As they walked, Cho-hee's mind danced back to her life a year ago, where every day felt like a struggle against the current. "You know, it's surreal to think how much has changed," she began, her gaze wandering to the city lights twinkling above. "I felt so lost before, just going through the motions. But meeting you sparked a fire I didn't even know was there." Jun-ho smiled warmly, his heart swelling at her words. "My life was a bit like a well-oiled machine before you walked in. I had everything, success, power, but I felt empty. You and your kindness pulled me out of that emptiness. You helped me view my life through a lens of real connections." They paused by a small street vendor selling traditional hotteok, sweet pancakes stuffed with nuts and cinnamon. With a playful grin, Jun-ho handed Cho-hee a pancake. "How about a taste of comfort food? I hear it's a local favorite." The familiar taste of nostalgia flooded her senses as she took a bite. "Wow, this feels like home," she said, unable to hide her delight. It was as if the warm dessert symbolized the comfort Jun-ho had brought into her life. Yet, as they continued to explore, a shadow of doubt crept into Cho-hee's heart. Their worlds were so different. She had fears of being just a fleeting chapter in Jun-ho's life. Even as their connection blossomed, she couldn't shake the question that followed her. Was this romance built to last? Sensing her hesitation, Jun-ho stopped and turned to her, his brow furrowed in concern. "What's on your mind? You seem a million miles away." His attentive nature made her heart flutter, but the weight of uncertainty hung heavy. I guess I'm just wondering how we fit into this, how our lives can really blend. Your world is one of luxury and high expectations, while mine has been so different. Junho reached for her other hand, grasping it gently as he met her gaze. You've grown so much, Cho-hee. I see how hard you work and how passionately you pursue your dreams. And honestly, that inspires me every single day. You need to know that I'm here, in whatever shape or form we decide to take. As their eyes locked, the moonlight caught each flicker of emotion exchanged, the air charged with unspoken promises. The moment became an emotional catharsis for both, an acknowledgement that vulnerability was a strength, not a weakness. The climax came unexpectedly as they rounded a corner, only to find themselves abruptly facing an old acquaintance of Junho's, Isora, Lee Sora, a former colleague who had always held a fascination with him. Her presence created an instant tension as she approached them with a confident stride. Junho, fancy seeing you here. And you've brought a date? Her gaze flickered contemptuously toward Cho-hee, sizing her up as if measuring her worth. Cho-hee is more than that, Junho insisted, stepping closer to Cho-hee, shielding her from Sora's judgment. She's become an important part of my life. Sora's eyebrows raised, clearly unimpressed. Well, it's nice to see you've lowered your standards. The barbed comment hung heavily between them, causing a sharp intake of breath from Cho-hee. Choosing to confront the situation rather than back down, Cho-hee squeezed Junho's hand, finding the courage that had ignited within her. I'm proud of who I am, and the path I've paved for myself, she replied, her voice steady. Your opinion means little, and it doesn't define my worth. Junho turned to Cho-hee, pride gleaming in his eyes. He could see her growth materialize from the shy waitress to a woman confident in her identity. This response sparked something deep within him, a realization of how much she had changed him too. As Sora blinked in surprise, the unexpected shift between them revealed the truth of their bond. They had created something genuine that weathered the backlash of a world built on judgments and comparisons. After Sora retreated, clearly flustered, an overwhelming sense of relief washed over both of them. Cho-hee exhaled deeply, the tension easing from her shoulders. I didn't expect to confront her like that, she admitted, feeling the warmth of Junho's hand still clutching hers. You were amazing, Junho replied, pride evident in his tone. That's exactly who you are. Strong, unwavering, and deserving of respect. As they continued their stroll, a renewed sense of intimacy enveloped them, solidifying the connection they had built. The moment had demonstrated that they could face the outside world together, come what may. In the shadow of the night, under the illuminating glow of streetlights, they embraced the intertwining of their lives, two souls finding hope in their shared journey. Together, they would navigate the unpredictable landscape ahead, ready to explore the depths of their bond with open hearts. And as the evening continued, both knew that they had found something rare, a love that began with a simple act of kindness and blossomed into an enduring connection, each step forward writing a new chapter in their intertwined story. Love often flourishes in the face of adversity. As the weeks passed, the connection between Cho-hee and Lee Junho, deepened, revealing the burgeoning romance that blossomed from their initial meeting. However, the beauty of their relationship was often shadowed by societal expectations and preconceived notions shaped by their backgrounds. Each time they felt the warmth of their love, the chilling whispers of doubt and disapproval hovered nearby. In the heart of Seoul's vibrant corporate world, Cho-hee found herself excited about her role at Nextech. Her success, however, was not without its challenges. Rumors circulated within the office, the colleagues speculating about her relationship with Junho, the CEO, doubtful glances exchanged behind closed doors. Is he really interested in her, or is she just a distraction? They would murmur. Those moments weighed heavily on her, filling her mind with insecurity about how others perceived her. Meanwhile, Junho faced his own struggles. A high-powered executive, he was often pulled in multiple directions by the demands of his position and the expectations of his family, who believed success equated to marrying someone from their social circle. Despite his affection for Cho-hee, He couldn't shake the fear of disappointing those who had always been part of his life. During one particularly tense board meeting, when a colleague brought up the whispers about his relationship with Cho-hee, Junho felt the weight of judgment hanging in the air. "Are you sure dating her is a good move?" The snide comment slipped out, causing turmoil in his chest. In contrast to the conflict brewing around them, the moments Cho-hee and Junho shared became sanctuaries of strength. They supported each other through their highs and lows, reinforcing the binding thread of their relationship. On a rainy afternoon, as they took shelter in a small cafe, Cho-hee shared her fears with Junho, her voice barely audible over the steady patter of raindrops. "What if they're right? What if this beautiful thing we've created is just a phase?" Junho took her hands in his, grounding her in the moment. "It's not just a phase," he replied, his eyes fierce with conviction. "You have transformed me in ways I never imagined possible. You inspire me to be better, and I don't want to lose that." His honesty drew her closer, igniting the warmth in her heart once again. However, an unexpected twist awaited them as the pressure of external opinions mounted. One evening, when Junho's parents invited him to dinner, he felt compelled to bring Cho-hee along, an opportunity to introduce her properly. As they entered the lavish family home, his heart raced in anticipation of how she would be received. Cho-hee, dressed in a simple yet elegant outfit, felt out of place surrounded by the opulence of Junho's family. The atmosphere was rigid, filled with polite smiles that masked skepticism. Over the course of the evening, the questions began. They came slow at first, but grew with intensity. "What made you think you could step into this family, Cho-hee?" his mother asked, her tone laced with judgment. At that moment, under the scrutiny of Junho's family, Cho-hee's confidence wavered. She could feel her past, every self-doubt and fear flooding back to her. She stumbled, her voice barely breaking through the tension. But Junho, sensing her struggle, quickly interjected. "Mom, we're together because we complement each other, not because of our backgrounds. Cho-hee has taught me the value of kindness and humility, qualities that matter more than anything." His voice held a strength that momentarily silenced the room. The climax of the evening reached a boiling point when his father added, "Life is about making sacrifices for success. Do you really think you have what it takes to be with my son?" In that charged moment, Cho-hee felt all eyes on her, and the weight of expectations bore down heavily on her shoulders. She summoned every ounce of courage she had. "I may not come from your world, but I am not defined by it. My little victories, my job, my dreams, have shaped me into the person I am. And if Junho sees something in me, then that's enough." There was a moment of unbearable silence, the tension stretching taut, before Junho reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers, silently supporting her. The truth of her words hung in the air, an emotional confession not just for her but for both of them. The acknowledgement of their love, despite the external challenges, resonated loudly. Junho's parents exchanged glances, clearly shaken by the intensity of their unfiltered emotions. In the days following that dinner, Cho-hee and Junho found a new rhythm. They learned to navigate the pressures surrounding their relationship, leaning on one another for strength. With unwavering support, they transformed their love into a source of resilience that defied societal expectations. Their connection solidified, intertwined with the lessons they had learned through fragility and vulnerability. As they faced the world together, it became clear that the love stemming from a simple act of kindness was not fleeting. It was profound and enduring. Cho-hee's courage inspired Junho, fueling a fire within him to challenge the norms that had previously confined him. In the heart of a city that thrived on chaos, Cho-hee and Junho continued to forge their path, always aware that their love had the power to change not only their lives, but also the lives of those around them. Each obstacle they faced became a testament to their strength, a reminder that love, when nurtured and cherished, could conquer all. With every step forward, they left behind echoes of doubt, embracing the promise of what lay ahead, together. Did you enjoy this unexpected love story? Have you ever had a meeting that changed your life? Leave a comment below, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. See you next time.